Going into the quarantine, I felt secure. I knew I was an introvert and that spending time alone wouldn't be such a challenge, and that was mostly true. But I also learned that I value human interaction more than I had previously imagined. On that note, I realized that I don't like spending as much time with myself as I had thought. Being alone in my apartment made me more aware and sensitive to my actions, and honestly, more judgmental of myself. Before, I could blame my problems on bad days at school or the actions of others. But now, everything that happens is a consequence of an interaction with or an action by me and only me. And that makes it feel like all of my struggles go back to my bad habits or my bad decisions, because there's no one else to blame. And right when I had begun making lifestyle changes, health issues arose that brought it all to a screeching halt, showing me that despite the mundaneness of confinement, unexpected situations can still arise. I still don't think I'm ready for confinement to be over, for many reasons. But when it is over, I hope I'll be more appreciative of the things that I took for granted.
Hey, it's Leanna. So I wanted to get a bit personal with everyone about how I'm dealing with my mental state during this difficult time. I was lucky enough to take a plane home, and I'm so grateful to be surrounded by my family. At first, in Paris, it was very difficult for me. I struggled immensely to motivate myself to do almost anything because I was stuck in such a small environment. But now that I'm home in Korea, things have been way easier. I didn't realize until this past month how social human interactions are very, very healthy and important for all of us. I took it for granted before because now I'm just craving any sort of human interaction, and I learned that talking to others was extremely beneficial for my own mental health. I FaceTime friends often, and I even had a group video call with almost all my roommates from my freshman year. And one thing I really learned about myself is that it's terribly difficult for me to concentrate in an environment I'm way too comfortable in.
Hi, it's Katya again. What have I learned about myself in quarantine? At the beginning of the quarantine, I had hoped that being away from people for so long would shake me out of my introvertedness and remind me why it's good to be around people. And I do see that. I know that community is probably the most important thing to me. And I think for everybody, really. But I realized that in all the texting and the calling and the video chatting, I still find it possible to feel overloaded on human contact. In normal life, at the end of a long day, I'll have to slough off all the energy I've collected from other people, even if I enjoyed seeing everyone. But now I'm seeing that it really is possible for people to be a tangible presence in your daily life, even digitally. For better or worse, people can still affect me, even if they're thousands of miles away. Real solitude is not just about being physically alone. It's also about letting your mind be in silence. I think what I've learned is, even alone, I still need me time with my internal voice only to feel whole.
Hello, my name is Hussein Al-Ibrahim, and for the past few weeks, I've been relaxed and rested. Keeping a chill mindset is the most important thing to me. So in this time of quarantine, I made it my priority to maintain that mindset under the conditions we're in. It ain't much, but it helps every day. I hope everyone else is doing well in this trying time, but for now, social distancing is my priority, and I'll stick with it till it's all over.
If you had told me a month ago that I was going to be locked up in my apartment for weeks on end and catch a virus that's killing people across the planet, I would have said, well, I don't think I would get through that really well. Turns out I have been getting through it really well. I had some really rough patches during the illness, but now I'm well. And since emerging from the sickness, I have felt happy, almost stupidly, deliriously euphoric. Simply to wake up in the morning without pain, to wake up and see the sun flooding into my apartment, maybe to have an idea for something musical. All these very simple things are just keeping me happy. And for want of a better term, I'm also actually really happy with my own company. It's working out really well. So I think that is a big takeaway for me from From somebody who is usually really busy, has a very active social life, always projects on the go, who rarely spends long periods of time on his own. This has now been a lengthy period, and I am still great, and I have maybe simpler tastes than I thought I had. So until you take the internet and Netflix and good coffee away from me, that is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, it's Sophia, and today we're supposed to talk about what we've learned about ourselves in quarantine. And I guess something that I've learned about myself is that I really need to see the world and other people to kind of feel connected, because my apartment is not street facing, it's not really courtyard facing either, it faces a wall, and I can't see any other people ever, pretty much. So even though I understand that everyone is going through the same thing, feeling cooped up in their house, it really makes me feel like I'm the only one going through it because I can't see anybody else. Like, even when we clap at 8 o'clock for the medical workers, I can hear people clapping, but I can't see anyone. So it's a really bizarre feeling, and I never thought I would experience anything like it.
Hi there, it's Sapor. So today is April 10th and it's been a month of quarantine. During this weekly episode, I've learned that I'm not as shy as I thought I was. I mean, don't get me wrong, in the very first episode that we uploaded, I was very uncomfortable in front of the camera. So I guess I just needed that little push to put myself out there onto the internet. I appreciate being able to capture these moments of my life, moments we all take for granted. And I don't think I would have ever done this on a regular basis. Also, I've always known that I like to be indoors, but I never knew that I would enjoy it this much. I think when quarantine ends, I still wouldn't leave my house during the summer. The past couple of weeks have been very interesting. Never in my life would I have thought I'd live through something like this. So I hope everyone is well and at home, safe and sound. I'll see you guys next week.
When starting this quarantine, I already knew that my extroverted self would struggle with not being able to have human interaction for a while. Although I did believe that quarantine would help me get on top of my schoolwork and complete everything in advance. Before the quarantine, I would call myself a procrastinator, but my excuse for being one was the constant distractions that surrounded me. What I've learned about myself during this quarantine is that I don't need any distractions to continue my way of procrastinating. I figured I have a talent for basically making up my own distractions. Anyway, who says great things can't be done last minute? I have learned that some of my best work have been completed literally the day before they were due. And I mean, really, what is the harm if I never miss a due date? So right now, of course, I am stressed about the 3 finals I have to finish in the next week or 2. But I know that my stressed out brain will squeeze out all the creativity and knowledge hours before to produce an amazing work by Hera Procrastinating Soy Sal.
Hey guys, once again, this is Evan Floyd, and what have I learned about myself? I learned that I don't like having to put a barrier between myself and the people I love, but if I have to do it, I have to do it. I mean, now's the time of social distancing, and we need to stay at home. I learned that with all the time in the world, it's still possible to be unmotivated and unproductive, but once there's a schedule, some normalcy to things, you can start to feel a little better. Being stuck inside has really made me appreciate what I had beforehand, and I know that when this is all over, I'm gonna go out to the parks or out in nature, just go see the people I've been missing. I learned that I really value my relationships with my friends and family. I actually called our executive producer, Anita, before I did this, and it was a lovely chat. I really miss her. I hope she's doing okay. We're gonna get past this. We're all gonna get past this.
It's been a month since I left Paris, but my normal routine decided to stay in France. In the beginning, I thought it would be quite easy to stick to my regular schedule. And only 3 weeks into quarantine, I realized how unproductive I was being. I would spend hours and hours doing nothing and procrastinated, and found it really hard to motivate myself to do anything. I was getting really frustrated with myself and started having anxiety every single day, which hasn't happened for a couple of years now. Then I realized that one of the reasons I was feeling this way was that I was too scared to admit to myself that this kind of lifestyle wasn't for me, or at least I wasn't ready for it yet. I always thought that my dream job was something that would allow me to travel and work remotely, but I couldn't even imagine it would be so hard to stay motivated and be productive while staying at home. Being forced to do schoolwork from home during this quarantine showed me that if I really want to work remotely in the future, I will have to change my habits, and it will require a lot of effort.
Hello, it's Abby. Since I returned home and the quarantine began, I realized that I've become a little more of a romantic. Moving from Paris back to Cincinnati, I already knew that the pace of life would be much slower, and on top of that, the situation going on makes things slow down even more. Because of this major shift, I've started to notice and appreciate little things around me, and I've definitely become more patient. I've never really been a very patient person, but I've started to learn how to become one with everything I do, like starting a garden or learning a new skill. It feels weird to say I'm grateful for this time, but I think I'm just happy that I'm able to live a slower pace of life because I probably wouldn't have had another opportunity to do this.
Hi guys, so today's gonna be a bit different. I'm gonna talk about what I've learned through those past 4 weeks in quarantine. Obviously it's been a bit hard because I'm not with my mom or my sister, but I've learned a lot. I've learned to listen to myself, my body and my mind, and I've also learned that I always have to be doing something. So I've been really creative. I've started to draw and cook and write songs, so that's great. I mean, I've also learned to be in nature, like and love little things like flowers growing and the sun, the heat. It's obviously hard for everybody, but you have to be positive because we don't have a choice right now. So might as well learn something and enjoy what we have.
For as long as I can remember, I've been interested in a sociological concept called dramaturgy. It says life is like a play, with a front stage and a back. The front stage is when you're in front of an audience, your friends, family, strangers, and you are an actor playing a different role, putting on different masks, perhaps of an acquaintance, a student, a son, a daughter, etc. And the backstage is when you're away from everyone else, when you're truly yourself, your authentic self. I never learned how to experience that backstage because I never had my own space growing up. A saturated daily life in a vibrant city like Paris never made that easy either. I've always hated the fact that when I was with myself, I never truly felt alone because I always saw myself as an other. I think it's because I never got enough time to be away from those masks we put on when you're with other people. Hence, I never truly knew who I was without them. This quarantine has finally given me the ability to be introspective as I read, write, draw, and watch trashy reality shows. I'm looking forward to spending more time with myself and getting to know who I am, so I'll have a stronger separation between the front stage and the backstage, and a stronger connection to myself.